was scrolling on Instagram and I saw this, and my overconfident self said, I could do that. Now, I will never, ever wear an outfit like that. Certainly not on the Instagrams or the internets. But why can't I take that technique and use it on something else? Like a pair of shoes. Plus, I'm not mermaidy. You know what those little globs look like? Feathers. So we are going to take our overconfident selves. We are going to use some clear silicone and a pair of old shoes that we don't wear that often. And we are going to try to create some crow feather shoes, some feather shoes. Think ruby slippers, but black and textured. I don't have a whole lot more to say. Let's just get started. I'm going to use this old pair of shoes. They're canvas, and so I think this is going to stick just fine. Silicone is important because it will move with the shoes without falling off, and it has to dry clear. I'm going to paint these black, so I'm not sure if that's actually true, but I'm going with what the internet said. So I did do a little bit of a test last night. I came in and just did some globs. They are still drying. This says it could take 7 to 14 days for it to dry, so you can see it's still a little cloudy in the middle, but it definitely is flexible. I think it would take quite a bit to actually peel it off. Once it's completely dry, I think it'll be fine. This morning I've come in and I've done some extra globbies. They are less shapely than the ones I did here. This is what it looks like when you apply the cheap stuff. In the Instagram post, she has, I think, the good stuff, so it comes out clear. I'm not paying for the good stuff right now, so we're gonna go with the $3.99 bottle and see how this ends up. So my goal is to kind of create this shape all over the shoe. I'm going to start at the toe, and I'm going to have them kind of going back this way. So it'll be first row and second, so that the feathered part of it goes backwards. Once I get to the sides here, I may actually switch direction at some point, but I'm not entirely sure. But I am thinking I'm going to follow the parts of the shoe. I probably won't put silicone on this part, but I'm going to treat the toe one way, the side panels another way, and then the back something else. Once that's done, it's gonna take definitely all day and all night to dry. And in that time, we will go to the craft store because I wanna see if they have mica powder. In the Instagram post, she is using powdered pigment to color these in, so that's what I'm going to try to do. My plan in my head is to paint them all black and then dust them with kind of an oil slick coloration, because one thing you may or may not know about ravens and crows is that I think in UV light they actually are like rainbow colored. We just can't see it because our eyes are inferior. The mantis shrimp could probably see it. So that's the plan. We are just gonna fill these up with some paper so they've got some rigidity, and we're gonna start with the toes. I said we're gonna start with the toes. Am I about to get humbled? Probably. It's gonna be fine. I really have nothing to lose, but for some reason, starting a project paralysis is a real thing. I cut the tip down to a 45-ish degree angle, so we'll do a big old globby. It's probably not gonna work, but what's new? No takesies, backsies. One down, 500,000 to go. Right now it just kind of looks like teeth, which, I mean, could certainly be a look. These are also really small. I might try to cut this a little bit bigger so that I get bigger teeth, feathers. But I'm gonna scrape these off and we're gonna start over because it's okay to start over. I think this way is gonna work a little bit better, but I have to figure out the motions of it. So once again, I think I'm gonna scrape this off. I'm gonna start from the back because less people are gonna see the back and it'll give me time to work it out. It's all very fascinating content, I'm sure. I think we made some progress. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. The problem is that because this stuff is fairly loose, it's very hard to go in and do a second row. So I think I'm going to have to do the outline of all the sections and then move on to the other shoe when that's had a chance to kind of set a little bit, come back in, do the second row. But the other problem is, because I've also done this, I can't like put it down on its side like that because it's gonna smoosh everywhere. So not only do we have to kind of do one row at a time, but I think we have to do one side at a time. We're gonna make it work, but it's gonna be something. I'm definitely ruining something today. It's like icing a cake, but it's sort of working. Let me show you my progress. It has been about 20 minutes. It looks like I have not put in 20 minutes of work, but it is slow but steady progress. I am really, really happy with this. It may not end up looking like feathers, but it certainly looks like scales. So maybe we're going with a dragon scale kind of vibe rather than bird feathers. I don't know. Still kind of looks like teeth on the front, but that's okay. What I will say is you may want to have an awl or maybe a knitting needle or something kind of sharp and pointy, because I'm going in and kind of fixing some of the silhouettes of this. I'll come in here with my awl and I will kind of clean up some of the edges just to make them look a little neater. I'm not saying that it's totally neater, but it is better than it was. And I'm not worried about back here at all because that's all going to be covered, but we want it to look like something organic. The other thing that I'm kind of running into is that it's hard to complete a section because just the size of this thing gets in the way. And if I'm not being super, super careful, the edges of this will actually smush some of my work that I've already done that's already starting to set. So I'm having to be really careful about how far into each section I go. It's not a big deal, but it is a deal. I'm gonna keep going, turn on a movie. We'll see how far I can get on this one shoe before having to move over to the other one. So while I work on this, why don't we hear a little information about today's sponsor, Craftsy. As you know, I love making things, and Craftsy has become my go-to online resource for all things creative. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Craftsy has something for everyone. In preparation for this video, I've been diving into their classes on cake decorating. But once I'm done, they've got over 2,000 more classes in 20 categories, like knitting, painting, and cooking for me to start with. What I love most is that Craftsy is always adding new classes, so there's always something fresh to learn and keep you inspired. The instructors are true experts, sharing their professional tips and tricks, making it so easy to follow along. Plus, you can connect with fellow makers and DIY lovers, asking questions and sharing your ideas. Now for the exciting part. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. This offer is valid for new members only, so if you've been curious about Craftsy, now is the time to join. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to unlock your creativity. Click that link and become a member of the Craftsy community. Now let's get back to the shoes. I am 45 minutes into it, so I have one, maybe about a third done, another one, maybe about a third done, but I think you can see the potential that we're working with here. And I think this is going to shift over to scales rather than feathers, but I'm still gonna stick with the color scheme that I have in my brain. Again, I am running into, if I wanna work on the other side, when I hold the shoe, my fingers kind of get into down here. I've kind of messed some of these up down here a little bit. It's not too bad, but it's just not set yet. Do I put them outside and let them sit in the sun and maybe that will cure them faster? Do I hit them with a hair dryer or do I just let them sit? And I'm not real sure. I think I'm going to put them up on their side though, just so I don't lose some of the definition that I have going on here. There's some mess associated with this. However, there is also a lot of potential associated with this. I love projects with potential. I'm going to figure out how to get them dry enough so that I can continue working on them, and then I will check back in with you. It's done. I mean, the silicone part is done. I put on Monsters University, and by the time it was done, I was finished. So here is what they look like, and I'll explain the next parts. They look pretty funky right now. Very arts and crafts. This right here is fresh, and you can see the lines from the nozzle, and I really like those, but once it starts drying, those are going to even out. I did not do the tongue or where the laces go because that is where things are going to be moving around the most, so I was pretty sure everything was going to fall off of that, but everything else is done. So I am going to let this cure overnight. And given how much is here, it's probably going to need longer than that, but I think overnight it will be in a place where I can paint it. I will test it on those little test globs that I did at the beginning just to see if they hold paint or if I need to do anything special with them. I think from this point, I think we need to go shopping. I think we need to go get some mica powder. Let's go see what the craft store has. So I picked up my mica powder. I got the little set. There was another set there that looked better, but it was 4 times the price. I also picked up some makeup brushes so that I had something to do this with, and I got a snack. These things are like crack. This is where we're at. You can see it's starting to set up quite a bit, but the white will go away eventually. So what I want to do right now is actually use my, whatever this is, as a way to figure out how the powders work and what the best way to paint it would be. Because I'm worried that because this is silicone, acrylic paint isn't going to stick very well. But I'm going to try that first because it is storming outside, so I can't spray paint anything. But if acrylic paints don't work, I'm going to try to spray paint it. And once I get it painted and I have it dried, then we will try the powders. So this is the part that is mostly dry. I did this yesterday, and then these here and down here I did today. It looks like the acrylic paint is sticking pretty well. I don't know how much coverage I actually need because I think the background of the shoe is going to help a little bit. I'm going to give that a little bit of time to dry, and we will come back and see what the coverage looks like. The paint is all dry. It dries nice and flat. I think that's gonna work. I also think my power might go out. So I'm gonna paint all of these black, and then I'm going to use the mica powder to see how it works and see the best way to apply it. I believe my paint is dry, so I'm going to try these guys. I don't have any idea what I'm doing with this. I've just watched like one video, which I think is enough. And I'm going to use the colors that I am not interested in using for my final product, which is the neon shades. First and foremost, I do not know which side of these little containers is up. It is leaking like crazy, and I don't know which side to have on the top when I take the lid off. Number 2 is, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but this color does not show up on the black very well. It shows up great when it is white. I don't know what it will look like when it's clear. So I think I need to try one of the metallics to see how that looks instead on the black, because that's what I'm primarily going to be working with, and that would just make a whole lot of sense. It was going too easy. Let's try one of the metallics. I figured it out. It's the flat side up. Problem number 1 solved. Pick up some of that and ooh. Oh man, it looks really good on the stuff that's not black. But the point of this is to make it look not ethereal, but darker. Here it is on the black. It's very subtle, but it's certainly there. This is it on the clear. It is not subtle. Put it on these right here and just see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's still subtle, and I don't know if you can layer pigment powder, but I am going to put a second color on top of this just to see if it will give me that color shift that I'm hoping for, because that's what I want to do for my final product, is have it be a purple and green color shift. So I don't think the color combination is all that striking, but also I'm using 2 pretty light colors, and that doesn't surprise me too much. I think I'm gonna go with this blue maybe. I don't have a metallic purple, but I do have this purple, so maybe if I do this and that blue and this metallic green, maybe those 3 together will create the effect that I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and try those and see what happens. I'll try it on some black sections as well as some not black sections and show you what I came up with. Here are my experiments. So this is just the bright green powder on clear. Then these 2 have been painted black, and I've thrown a bunch of colors on them just to see what happens. But you can certainly tell that it gets a lot more muted because of the black. This is plain silicone with the light blue on it, and it looks very pearly. These over here were painted black, and then I have just put on a bunch of the purple, the blue, and the green. These are the colors that I was working with. This looks cool. It is certainly not what I'm going for, but I think what I'm going for may have to shift, and that's okay. Up here, this one and this one and this one were all plain silicone. These 2 have this color brushed on it. Those actually look really good. I like those. I like that color. This one has the purple metallic, or just the plain purple, and I like that too, but it's a little too pastel for me. These up here, same thing, plain silicone. This has, I think, the light green metallic brushed on it. These 3 were painted black, and they have the combination again of these 4. Plain silicone with the neon green first, and then this color brushed onto it, and this looks pretty sickly. I don't like that at all. And then same thing, plain silicone with this. So none of this is what I was ultimately hoping for. So we're just gonna keep shifting things around. I'm nitpicking right now. Overall, this has been very, very, very easy. And I only used about half a bottle of silicone. Kind of see the end of it there. I'm trying to figure out what else I could use this for. I'm thinking some accessories probably need to be made, because I think that would be pretty cool. We've got to let it dry, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Welcome to day 2. We are almost completely dry. I mean, almost. Like, it probably still needs some time to cure, and that's okay. There are some cloudy spots. It's fine. It is what it is. I think we're at a point where we can work with it today. However, the color still has me stumped. The paint that I have dries matte, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But when paired with the mica powder, it just ends up looking like a flat gray bit. I can either switch up the direction that this goes, which I really don't want to do, or I can go back to Michael's and try to find what is going to work. Because I don't want to compromise on this, and I want it to look right. That's a long way of saying we're going back to Michael's. We're going to do another field trip. We're going to go back to Michael's, and we're going to make this happen the way that I want to. So I'll see you when I get back from Michael's. Holy crap, you're so far away now. I picked up a purple and a blue metallic. These are marketed as extreme sheen metallics, so we will see if this is what I'm looking for. Did not pick up a black because I kind of figured these might do what I'm looking to do. And in probably the biggest brain move of my big brain, before I left, I put a couple of streaks of this stuff on here just so it would dry quickly. This way I can do multiple tests without having to test it on my shoes. So some of these are going to be painted with just these, and some of them are going to be painted black with these on top. Some of them are going to be these with the mica powder. We're going to do a bunch of different iterations to see what works. And I'll probably even mix these two together and test that as well. So I guess this is like an episode of Katie's Laboratory, trying to figure out what works. So let's see what we can figure out. Here's what I have so far. Just a plain black base. We have a purple and gold base, so I just mixed those two together. This is purple by itself. This is green by itself. This is where I mixed purple, gold, and black together, or purple, green, and black together. And then this is just purple and black together. So what I really like is the luminosity of these. I like how bright they are, but as soon as I mix it with the black, it gets lost. So you can see this has both metallics in it, but there is no shine whatsoever. I also did a black base, and then I put the green and the purple on top of it. So in some lights, it looks very, very dark, but then it does have kind of that shimmer. I'm not getting a lot of purple in there, but this is probably the best out of all of them. So I'm gonna do a couple of those, and then maybe the mica powders will help bring some of that out. So I have done my experiments, and none of them are exactly what I'm looking for, but we're gonna have to just go with what we've got. What I know for certain is that I'm going to have to put a base coat of black down. That kind of helps make some decisions. From there, I can either dry brush on the purple and the green. I can go over it with purple and green, but I think that might be too much. I'm kind of leaning towards dry brushing it. And I'm not sure if the mica powders are actually going to make an appearance at all. They almost lift it too much. But again, maybe I can put some down just as a highlight, as a little of color. Regardless, first things first, I have to get a base coat of black down. One thing I did not realize was that there's kind of a little bit of controversy around using silicone in these types of applications. Now, I have done only about 3.5 minutes of research on this, and that research has really just been Instagram comments on the original post that I showed you. But what multiple people have said is that in the mermaid community, using silicone for this kind of stuff is really frowned upon. I don't know anything else about that. I don't know if it's true. I just found it interesting. I guess it also makes me wonder, is it going to leach into my skin? I don't know. What I am fairly confident in is using this for shoes means that there's at least like 2 layers between the silicone and my skin, so the shoe itself and a sock. The silicone is also waterproof, so this does kind of waterproof the shoes a little bit more. I don't know if that helps at all, but it's true. One of the other nice things about this is it really doesn't take a whole lot of materials to get this to work. I know that I've had to go to the art supply store twice, but that's because I didn't know what I was looking for. Now that I have a pretty good idea what I'm looking for, none of it was overly expensive anyway. It doesn't take a lot of paint to cover it. Been kind of surprised how quickly this black paint does cover it. And it helps that the base color of the shoe is fine if it kind of sticks out. I guess this is just kind of my way of saying, if you want to try this, just here's some other things to consider. Like, do you actually want it pretty close to your skin or not? Anywho, I'm gonna finish painting up these shoes, and then will come the fun part, the magic, if you will. We are all painted. They actually look kind of cool like this. So now I am going to start by dry brushing. I think I'm gonna start with the green and then put the purple like on top of that, and we will see what that gives us. I'm not ready to fully dedicate this to all purple and all green. Here we go. First coat of dry brushing. I'm actually pretty impressed with that. I think it's just subtle enough that you get the idea, but it still lets the black come through. So I want that to dry completely, and then I'm gonna dry brush purple on top of it. I think it's actually gonna look pretty good. I just took them outside, and they are about as close as I could have hoped for. And I don't want to show you yet because I want you to see them in the reveal, but we're on to something here. I will see you guys after the reveal. Enjoy! Guys, this has probably been one of the least frustrating projects I have done. Every bit about it was pretty dang easy. I think the hardest part was just figuring out how to glob the silicone on consistently. But other than that, it takes paint very well, it takes the mica powder really well, and there are so many different ways you could actually use this. Let me show you just a test. So just like the inspiration that I showed you, you can also do this as more of a mermaidy fish style as well. I did this just on a piece of pink canvas. There's no base paint to it. This is all just mica powder. And in this case, the idea was more of a like bracer, which I think looks pretty cool. But thinking about the different ways I could use this to embellish different projects, if you haven't had a chance to watch my video about upgrading thrifted books, you should watch that. But also, how cool would it be to do something like this to the front of a sketchbook? It's not gonna come off and it's gonna look really cool. So I'm definitely gonna come back to this and try different applications just to see what it can really do, because there is so much potential here. And so little frustration, it's not even funny. Also, kind of cheap. If you had to start from scratch, you would need the squeezy gun thing, which I don't think is very expensive. You would need the silicone, which I got for about $4. The mica powder, the little teeny tiny multi-pack of mica powders was $10 and I had a coupon for it. And then brushes to put it on. And chances are you probably have at least some of those things in your house already. I'd like to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Thank you so much. Don't forget to use the link in the description to start your new membership and learn all kinds of cool Craftsy things. That is it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!